All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to follow the entire journey a product takes when it's returned, all inside Dynamics 365. And trust me, understanding this process is a huge deal. Get it right, and you can flip what seems like a problem into a massive win for customer trust. It's so easy to think of a return as just a pain in the neck, right? A logistical headache. But it's way more than that. It's a crucial conversation with your customer. And just like any good story, it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. How you handle that story, well, that can make or break their relationship with you. So just for a second, think about your own company. What story is your returns process telling? Is it a story that says, hey, we've got your back, this is easy, we trust you? Or is it one of those frustrating, confusing stories that just makes people want to give up? The details really, really matter. To really get this, we're going to walk through the 5 main chapters of this story. We'll start with authorizing the return, then see what happens when it's received and inspected. We'll look at that all-important disposition decision, cover how the customer gets their credit or replacement, and finally check out how this whole thing works in different situations, like out in the field. Okay, Chapter 1, Authorizing the Return. This is the official kickoff, where a customer's simple request gets turned into a real, trackable process right inside the system. The absolute cornerstone of this whole process is the Return Material Authorization, or as you'll always hear it, the RMA. I love this analogy on the slide. It's like the item's passport for its journey back to. As soon as a return order is created, the system generates a unique RMA number. That number is everything. It's how we'll track this thing every single step of the way. So how does it work? Well, it's pretty straightforward, but every step is critical. First, you create the return order. Then, and listen, this part is so important, you link it to the original sale using the Find Sales Order feature. Why? Because that automatically pulls in the correct price and cost, which means all your finances are going to be accurate from the get-go. Finally, you shoot that official RMA over to the customer so they know exactly what they need to do. So our item has its passport, it's in a box, and it's on its way back. The next chapter in our story kicks off the moment that box hits your warehouse floor. This is where the physical logistics really take over. The command center for all of this is a screen called the Arrival Overview. The best way to picture it is like the air traffic control tower for your warehouse. It's managing all the incoming planes, or, packages, and it gives your team one single place to see everything that's coming in, including our return. So from that Arrival Overview screen, the process is super precise. The warehouse clerk just uses the RMA number to spot the return, they click Start Arrival, and that creates something called an Item Arrival Journal. Once they register the item, boom, the system knows it is officially, physically back in the building. Now, here's a key point. This updates your physical on-hand inventory, but it hasn't touched your financials yet. The money part comes later. Now, once it arrives, the item hits a fork in the road. If it's a simple return, you can assign a disposition code, and we'll get to those in a second, right then and there. But if that item needs a serious lookover or a real quality check, it can be sent off to quarantine. That creates a whole separate quarantine order to manage that detailed inspection, and no final decisions are made until that's all done. And that brings us to what's really the climax of the whole operational story, the disposition decision. This is it. This is the moment where one single choice decides the fate of that item and sets off a whole chain of events, both logistically and financially. And the tool that makes this all happen is the disposition code. I absolutely love this sorting hat analogy. It's perfect. These little codes are the brains of the entire operation. They literally tell Dynamics 365 what to do next. Should we credit the customer, scrap the item, put it back in stock? It all comes down to this code. And you can see just how powerful these are. A simple credit code puts the item back on the shelf and refunds the customer. Scrap gets rid of the item but still makes sure the customer gets their money back. Then you have the really powerful ones, like replace and credit. That does everything. Restocks the item, refunds the customer, and automatically creates a brand new sales order for a replacement. And of course, there's return to customer. That's for when you find out the warranty was voided or something, so no credit is issued and the item just gets sent right back. Okay, so all the internal warehouse decisions have been made. Now the story shifts focus back to where it all started, the customer. This is about closing the loop and delivering on the promise you made, whether that's cash back in their account or a new product on their doorstep. When we talk about replacements, there are really 2 main strategies, and this is a big strategic choice for your business. You can do an upfront replacement, which means a new sales order is created the second the RMA is approved. This is all about speed and blowing your customer away with amazing service. The other way is a disposition-driven replacement. This is where the system waits until the returned item is back, inspected and processed before it automatically creates the new order. This is all about control and making sure everything is verified. There's no right answer. It just depends on what you want to prioritize. Now, this core process we've walked through is incredibly powerful, but the really cool part is how flexible it is. So let's look at how it adapts to some more specialized situations, starting with returns that actually happen out in the field. So, picture a service tech out on a job. For them, this whole process is built right into their workflow. They can create an RMA directly from their field service app on their tablet and link it right to the work order they're doing. When they take a used or defective part off a machine, they process an RMA receipt on the spot. That one action brings the part back into inventory and triggers the customer's credit. It's a perfect closed-loop process, all happening right there from the customer's site. Now, let's jump over to a retail store. It's just as smooth, but here the focus is a little different. It's all about speed and preventing fraud. Returns happen right at the cash register, the POS. And for items with serial numbers, the system can actually prompt the cashier to enter it. Then, and this is the killer feature, it can check if that serial number matches the one from the original sale. That is a huge tool for making sure the item being returned is the actual one you sold. And this quote right here, it just nails the whole point of everything we've talked about. When you get your returns process right, the whole story changes. It stops being just an expense on a spreadsheet. It becomes this incredible opportunity to show your customer you care, to build their trust, and to turn a potentially bad experience into a reason they'll keep coming back. So I'll leave you with this one question to chew on for your own business. Now that you've seen the entire life of a return inside Dynamics 365, is your process just a liability, something you have to deal with? Or have you actually built it to be your secret weapon for creating customers for life? Because all the tools to do it, they're right there.